Camera D man is just shitting his pants as he broadcasts live to all of South Korea. This swarm of ants just overwhelming their best S-rank hunter. He's just like, damn, if I'd have known all this was gonna happen, I'd have had better conversations with my family. He just thinks about his father as he closes his eyes and accepts his death. Then something flies over his head. It's an ant that's been impaled with another ant. All he sees is what looks like a red knight. Back at the TV station, they cut off the live stream because it looked like all of them were about to get killed right on TV. People are calling them mad, like, why'd they cut off the broadcast? But what, y'all want us to show them getting ripped to shreds? The way they were taking out the hunters, like, bro, we're cooked. And he just puts his face in his hand. But then they're still seeing on their feed, someone new has just appeared on the scene. So he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And after seeing who it is, he tells him to go live again. But he's like, bro, if we go live, it's not gonna be no delay. Like, whatever happens, happens. If something truly crazy happens, the entire public is gonna see it. He's like, hey, it is what it is. It's all or nothing right now. Our fate now rests entirely as they show Egress, tusk pulling up, dripped out in the purple. But everything rests in the hands of that man. Yo, he looks so cold. He literally just came out the shadows. Come on, you know we always pulling up deep. He says, Iron, do your thing. The bro does his battle cry. The ants start tweaking out, just abandoning their formation. He says, good work, gang, for just charging straight into him, blitzing through him like it ain't nothing. Tusk like puts up a shield to protect everybody. Bro's like, yo, what is actually happening? But he says, don't worry about it. It looks like we're in good hands. Everything's gonna be just fine. And it shows one of the ants trying to get at him, but it just gets crushed. You know Egress is always the first one to get active. Cut like 3 of their heads off at once. And Tank over here eating the ants like, ew, but do your thing, bro. Iron just having a ball smashing through him. He says, all right, let's take it up a notch. Arise. And he starts to pull his shadows from the ants' corpses. Of course, bro is just watching like, what the fuck? These shadow ants are just raising from the dead. His boss in his ear like, yo, the whole country is watching. Can you explain what's going on right now? But he's like, bro, what the fuck you want me to say? He comes over by the rest of the hunters, just pulls out a bunch of potions to heal everybody. He pretty much gets everybody back to feeling normal, like he healed most of their wounds. Shahe-in is still unconscious because her injuries were too serious that he couldn't heal her. He says she's slowly growing weaker. He's like, all right, we gotta get the fuck out of here before the rest of the ants start showing up. That's when bro starts walking back in like, hey, your king was not outside. That dude back there, he was not the king. Is there anybody else that you guys call king? He's just like, damn, because this mean Ryuji got cooked. But Jin-woo just says, take care of her as he gets up to fight. He asks, are you king of the humans? But he's just surprised at them. It's a talking insect. They just staring each other down, going aura for aura. They actually show us the ant's perspective. As compared to Ryuji, Jin-woo has a truly threatening presence. He starts flexing his aura, you know, doing his thing. He's like, now you seem more like a bug. While everybody's waiting for the live stream to come back on, they just cut it off at the craziest part, so everybody wants to know what's happening. The broadcasters tell them that the S-rank healer has died. The safety of the remaining hunters can't be confirmed. An unidentified hunter has appeared on the scene, so we're about to go live again in a second. Everybody's locked right back in. It cuts over to Ryuji's boss, who heard the moment that he got killed. It's crazy that ant monster really took him out. He just yells at bro to get the live stream back on now, so he can see what happens to the Korean hunters. It shows Jin-woo's sister checking on their mom. He's trying to figure out what's going on with the TV, just the shit's not working. She asks where Jin-woo is. He said he had to step out to do something, but bro, does this TV even work? But Jin-ah just closes her door and goes back in her room. She on her phone like everybody else, just shook at the live stream. Now the chairman see Jin-woo pull up and start getting hyped like, bro, he wants to come out of retirement. His mans has to calm him down. Everybody can see that it is him face to face with the ant. It goes to attack him, punching him clean directly on the temple. It shows the impact cracking the ground around them, for he adds like another shockwave to it. Starts blasting aura and rocks everywhere. They're just like, what the fuck? Their magic is insane. And they're saying they look down on the ant too much. Now it's just a pile of rubble and the ant standing by himself. He says, weak. You are not the king either. Then everybody seems surprised. I beg your pardon. He's right back in his face. Gotta spit out a little blood, you know, that was a good shot. Then he activates his dominator's touch and pulls him down to his knees. I'll see the wind up. You know what time it is. It's about 3 CTEs right there, right to the noggin. He just sends him flying. Crash go crazy, rocks flying everywhere, big ass smoke cloud. Everybody is just shook like, bro, are you sure he's supposed to be a mage? He said, yeah, man, I got a hard time believing that shit too. The ant ate that shit, and he's flying right back at him. He says it's because of his exoskeleton. It's getting in the way. It goes to slam him on top of the head, but he just blocks it with one arm, eats all the force of the impact, and then cracks him with a body shot. He swings right back. They on some rock'em sock'em shit. Bro, this is gonna be so hard. Like, yo, look at this. The cameraman, who's also an A-rank hunter, is like, this shit is overwhelming. It's just the strength of their magic is about to make him pass out. Then as his armor starts to crack, he says, what is this? What is the true identity of this human? Now Jin-woo and the ant are staring each other down, and he's just trying to figure out what his true identity is. They both go to punch each other and clash, just knock each other backwards and off balance. With just that one hit, Jin-woo cracked his hard-ass shell. He's like, impossible. Ain't no way he just did me like that. But he don't even got time to think, because Jin-woo is not playing. Hits him with this mean-ass uppercut. So he pulls this like purple blade out of his mouth. Well, really it's like a stinger, and he ends up slashing Jin-woo's cheek. And he jumps back to get some space. Like it wasn't just a regular blade, it was poisonous. That combines magic and poison in his body to make it even more deadlier. So how unfortunate, human, now die. And he goes to kill him, but then it cuts back over to the Japanese hunter that's seen the ant kill Ryuji. And it's all over, man. It's all over. Nobody's beating that shit. So she's trying to tell him to get himself together, but he's like, bro, y'all just don't understand. So she just throws him to the ground and calls him Sakura. Cuts back to the fight, and Jin-woo catches his hand and pieces him up with his right hook, sending him flying and crashing around. And he's slowly getting up as it shows that he's healed from the poison, but he's noticing that with his heightened sensibility, he can actually feel the ant's emotions. Like he could tell that he was happy when he poisoned him. And now he can tell that he's starting to get nervous. But the rest of the hunters are getting nervous as well, and Sha-Hye-in is fading. He gotta get moving and end this as quick as possible. He jumps up above him and raises his leg. He really tried to squash him like a bug, but bro got out of there. Now they couldn't keep up with it at all, but he's got his eyes right on it. It just flew up in the air to get away. He's thinking to himself like, damn, he's resistant to poison? Well, fuck it. It's not like I can beat him in a contest of strength. My true power lies in my speed. So he sheds all the excess armor he had on earlier and puts all his focus into his speed and agility. Playtime is over. Jin-woo's just looking at him like, alright, bet. So we get this nice little stare down before he just charges right at it. But he's surprised because Jin-woo dodged it with no problem. And his eyes hella wide as Jin-woo comes around, tries to take his head off, but he's able to block it. And he does a good job blocking both of his daggers and just counters by sending him flying. But he just catches himself on the wall of the cave and explodes right back at it. Then they both kick it all the way up, dashing around and clashing with each other as they move. He's like, what the fuck? He's not just keeping up with me, he's going even faster. How is this possible? But Jin-woo's just thinking that he's about as strong as the Demon King, probably even stronger. He's already leveled up since fighting him, and now he has an even stronger weapon. And he's already done noticeable damage to his armor so he can end the battle, and turns it up a whole nother notch, throwing slashes like crazy. The ant's still able to fight him off. His body is slowly breaking down and falling apart. He takes this chance to use his vital strike, and pieces that boy up all over. Then the system tells him that his critical strike skill has been upgraded to critical chain. He's like, oh, bet. But then the ant tries to like run away, but where do you think you're going? And the critical chain is just doing him crazy. He's like, oh, this skill ain't bad. He slices and dices him a new one, chopping off his left arm and just gradually wearing him down. He's like, what the fuck? Is there really nothing superior to this human? Nah, there is one. And I don't know who he's thinking of. Then he lets out a roar of his own and sends a shockwave of aura everywhere, which summons all the rest of the ants behind him. He points at Jin-woo and tells them to charge. He looks at Jin-woo and says, how do you like that, human? But he just smirks like, alright, let's go band for band. Let's see who's really rolling deep with them guys. Decepticons, mobilize. Now it's an all-out war zone between his soldiers and the ants. And you already know, Igris is always the first person to get active. The high orc's been in the shadows just itching to kill somebody. Then he says, come forth, and summons Big Dog Tusk. It says, hey, only attack the ants. If you attack any humans, I'm never summoning you again. He nods and is like, alright, I won't let you down. And he turns himself into a giant, and of course does his famous big ass flaming blast that always takes up the entire screen, and it shows that it actually shot through the mountain like a laser. But they're all like, bro, is that really a beast he just summoned? He's like, nah, that don't look like no beast. Bro got the damn devil in his back pocket, shooting fire everywhere. Now the ant is just watching everything get torched. He's just confused, like, I don't get it. Ever since I was born, I've always been the strongest. And since he can absorb people's knowledge and power by consuming them, there's really no limit to how strong he can become. Like, I am the king. So why? And Jin-woo is just looking at him through the flames and his eyes are getting wide and shit like, oh nah, I need to get the fuck out of here. And can we just look at this for a second, bro? This shit is so cold. And Jin-woo, look at this for a second, bro. This shit is so cold. And Jin-woo looking as heartless as usual. And the ant starts healing himself. He notices that he's using Min Byung's abilities. It's the first time he ever seen a beast that can absorb other people's powers. He healed himself so that he could run away faster. And he must get as far away as possible. But then the system says Commander's touch has been activated, and this giant hand of aura just appears above him and slams him down to the ground. Like, bruh, he over here looking terrified and Jin-woo still just looking cold. He really has the force, bro. Like, this shit is crazy. So he tries to like scurry away. Come on, bro, I'm not letting you get out of here. He activates his upgraded vital strike, slice and dice him just one more time. He's finally finished, as the system says Jin-woo leveled up twice. Then Yoon-hoo calls for him immediately. Shorty is not looking good, she's fading fast. But he's like, damn, he took too long. They gotta find a healer fast. But there's still more time until he can teleport, and he doesn't know if he could take somebody with him anyway. So the next best option is to fly, but she'd probably die mid-flight. There has to be a way, there has to be something he can do, and then he gets an idea. He looks over to the cameraman and says, hey, I need you to shut that shit off for a second. He's like, huh? He's like, bro, if you don't, I'm gonna break it. So he says, all right, let me turn this shit off. He calls for his shadows to go grab Min Byung's body. He's like, wait a minute, are you about to? As one of the orcs brings over his body. And he don't even know if this shit's gonna work because his head is gone. He's like, bro, what are you trying to do? Jin-woo's just focused and happy that he can actually use the shadow extraction on it. Arise. And the shadows start swirling around his body. Then it says that the extraction failed. He's like, nah, no way, because this should definitely work on someone of his level. Then he realizes that it might be because he's resisting becoming a shadow soldier. He probably thinks it's immoral to turn a person into one. But I have to save somebody who's still alive. He tries it again, but it fails this time too. He tries it the third and final time. Arise. His mans grabs him like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Do you have the power to command the dead? As it shows bro completely resurrected. He looks mad blown that he brought him back to life. Like, bro's mad as shit. They're all like, bro, can he harness the power of the dead? You really are no ordinary summoner. And then it walks over to Shahe-in, whips out his magic book and goes to work. And he's like, bro, is he healing her? He grabs Jin-woo on the shoulder, but he says, I can tell that man was a kind person. I didn't even give him a command. He just started healing her on his own. I can tell that he truly had a warm heart. He's like, nah, bro, that's not him no more. And Jin-woo agrees and says, you're right. And the cameraman's just like, damn, no wonder he told me to cut that shit off. The public can't know about this. He's just like, bro, the longer a battle rages on, the stronger he gets. It's a truly frightening ability. He says, I know his healing abilities would be useful in the future, but he hated violence. So please don't make him fight on the battlefield again. And Jin-woo just pauses for a second before slapping his hand off and saying, bro, that's the second time you done grabbed me on my shoulder. But the difference is, last time you were giving me an order. This time I can tell it's a truly heartfelt request. And also, I agree with you anyway, as he terminates the extraction and just sends him to nothingness. They like look at each other and kind of recognize one another. They both just give a quick little smile as he disappears for good. And Yoon-hoo thanks Jin-woo for that. So it cuts to this helicopter chopping outside, and everybody's getting ready to leave back for the mainland. But he's about to stay behind because we got some unfinished business. He says, that's true, the raid isn't over yet. There's still a whole slew of ants blocking their exit. But he says, don't worry, I'll clear a path. But he's just looking at him as he summons Kaizel. He's like, alright, I'll see you later. Just takes off into the sky on his shadow dragon, just killing all the ants by flying through them. Now again, it cuts back to the Japanese hunter that watched Ryuji get killed by the ant. He's still saying there's no way anybody could beat it, but he's like, bro, the raid is already over. The ants are starting to disperse and the ships are pulling up to finish them off. It shows Jin-woo's magicians and shadow ants going to work as he's just torching the nursery chamber, and he's getting experience from killing all the eggs. He's like, alright, let me check my inventory real quick. I forgot I even had this thing. Let's give it a whirl real quick. And he spins it in his hand before swinging it, and it sends like a wave of lightning. He's like, oh shit, I should have been using this the whole time. Let me take out the rest of the egg. I was showing on TV how he finished off the ant. This guy David, who is the director of the Federal Bureau of Hunters in America, I think, is watching the tape and discussing with his mans, and they're trying to recruit him, saying it'd be a shame to let such a talent go to waste in South Korea. It's too small of a country for him. And they already made the connection that the guy they had in custody, Song Il-hwan, is in fact Jin-woo's father. So they really don't want to botch this and are going to try and put their best foot forward to get him on their side. Now Jin-woo reaches level 100 as he's swinging this cold ass sword around, and he finally finished off the rest of the ants so he can take care of real business, and goes over to its corpse saying this one seems especially troubled because the shadows around it are more intense. Now you know what time it is, arise. But when he tries it, he gets completely shrouded in darkness. So he's like, what the fuck, I can't feel anything, and why did it get so dark? And he can't tell if the extraction worked or not, but then it appears right behind him saying, ah, and I'm back. And he's just relieved because he thought it failed. But just look at him. He's so tough, and his rank is a general, and he bows before Jin-woo as his aura flows everywhere. And this is the highest rank on a monster he's ever seen, so this brat is significantly stronger than all of his other shadows. And when I look at what it was doing earlier, that shit makes sense. So now he's about to revive the queen, but the ant interrupts and says, my king, please give me a name. This nigga is so formal, and the first thing that strikes him is how loyal he is off rip, but then he's trying to figure out, wait a minute, how can you talk to me? And he's like, I don't know, I was just able to, which really just confuses him, as even the humans he turned to shadows couldn't talk, not to mention the rest of the monsters don't speak either, but the only difference between them is their rank. So he figures maybe if they level up, they'll be able to talk to him too. Now I was the one who killed you, so can you still be obedient and follow me? And he's like, I am not dead, but reborn by Liege's power. I have happiness overflowing inside me. I will always follow you, my liege. And then the rest of the ants echo, calling him my liege. Please give me a name. So he's thinking about just calling him the Korean word for ant, but he wants to distinguish him from the rest of them. And he thinks about a writer of a novel called The Ants, and his name was like Bernard something, so he names him Biru. And he says, thank you, my master. Then Jin-woo walks over to the queen, arise, and turns her into a shadow soldier too. And the connection between all the ants is immediately restored, which catches him off guard like he didn't expect that. So he asks Biru what's going on. He says the queen's normal ability is to control the ant colony. So does that mean that she has control over the ants now? And he's like, yep, that's the case. Then Jin-woo asks why it seems like her magic decreased, but he says most of her magic is strictly for reproduction, and it's impossible to reproduce without a body. So do you mean that the queen doesn't fight? He's like, yes, my liege, that's what I said. So he just cancels the queen's extraction because there's no need for two heads in an organization. And the rest of the soldiers are already collecting crystals, but he's like, nah, y'all don't gotta do that. This one I got from Biru will definitely be enough. But the problem is the rest of the ants that are left over, like, can I sweep them out with the forces I have now? And he says he's gonna try as best he can, but he interrupts saying, master, I feel it. The enemies are going through difficulties because they have no leader. They cannot organize the masses and are scattering. So he's like, Biru, you got a head count on all the ants? Like, yeah, it was about 8,700 before the raid happened today, and it's probably about 4,000 left now. And he's like, damn, I thought we took out a lot of them, but there's still plenty left. But if it's you, do you think you can exterminate all of them? And he's just looking at him like, bro, if you give me the order, nigga, I'm waiting on you. Cuts over to the ships that are trying to take out the remaining ants. They're firing with their destroyers and everything they got, using the technology in tandem with the hunters they have, trying to shoot all the ants out the sky. I mean, hey, it looks like they're doing a pretty good job. There's some cutie over here just giving orders, you know, and all the rest of the hunters are gathering at their border to protect the mainland from the ants that got away. Now that they're really faced with battle, the guy that was supposed to be a star is shitting his pants, while everybody is mobilizing and getting ready for combat. Remember, each one of these is equal to a B-rank hunter. They've already arrived at the shore, so their backs are against the wall. They're not even sure if they can take them. They're coming in quick, heading straight for them. But before they can reach them, something flies through them. It was just too fast for any of them to keep up. And they show us that it's the kid, Biru, tearing them a new one. Just look at the way they did this panel. Like, they know this nigga is cool as shit.